to ask ourselves, what is a case study? A case study presents an account of what happens to a business or industry over a period of time. Usually it's a lot more narrowly focused. It chronicles the events that managers have to deal with, such as changes in their competitive environments, and charts of response, which is usually challenging and changing at a rapid pace. And their decisions affect the business, and also it involves corporate level strategies for the most part. Case studies are valuable for a couple of reasons, or for many reasons rather. First, cases provide experience organizational problems that you ordinarily wouldn't get, and you can live vicariously through other people. Second, cases illustrate what you have learned. So, for example, the meaning and implication of the information are clearer whenever you use them in case studies. For example, if you wanted to talk about race car driving, you could talk about it all day long, but until you got out of the driver's seat in a simulator or whatever, you really couldn't know what the driver experiences. And that's the same way with case studies. Management is an uncertain science, and using cases to show how the theories are put into practice is just one way of improving your skills as a manager. The third way is case studies provide you with an opportunity to participate in the class and share your experiences and gain experiences with your classmates. I may have mentioned in another segment, but all the educational research shows that students learn best from their peers over and above what their instructors provide. So classes are in themselves are a valuable learning experience, probably the most valuable learning experience. And I think in theory, because at least one of my theories is because you're less intimidated around your peers and willing to experiment and try more. Classmates often analyze issues different from you, and they're going to want to argue their points, which is one of the main purposes of the case, is for them to challenge your conclusions, and you have to be prepared to defend them. And that's how decisions are made in the actual business world. When you do your presentations, it has to cover the issues involved and the problems facing the company. And you'll have to be responsible with coming up with a series of recommendations for resolving the problems. After that, discussion will be thrown open to the class. In this case, it'll be virtual discussion. People will submit questions to you, and you'll have to defend your responses. And through these discussions and presentations, you'll experience how to convey your ideas effectively to others. Now, in our case, you can do a video response if you like, but you can do a written response as well. Keep in mind that a lot of managers' time is spent doing just that, engaging in discussion with other managers. So, especially those who have different ideas of their own. And this will give you real-world experience, or not real-world experience, but it'll give you experience doing just that. Students work in groups. They have to analyze their case studies and present their findings. We've talked about that already. This presents additional problems because you have to get along with other people. You have to work close to the people you may not like. Once again, a real-world situation. Most business negotiations take place in groups, so it's best to learn about these problems now. Okay, how do we analyze and present a case? We're going to go through the steps right now. Step 1, read the case completely from start to finish. After you've read it, reread it. Chances are you didn't pick up all the details. And start writing notes. And then after that, compare your notes with your classmates or your group mates. Pre-write and take notes. Yeah, we just talked about that. Focus on the details you need in order to identify the business problem faced by your group. As managers, your job will be to solve the issues that are critical to the problem at hand, using all the available resources which managers like yourself can draw to determine appropriate course of action, and which details are important and should be included in the case as part of the background information. Consider the following whenever you're doing your brainstorming and note-taking. First thing, describe the problem. Give a rough idea what the problem to be addressed is via the perspective of the principal players within the case. Next, describe goals and objectives. What's the desired goal? What is the best case scenario, in other words? What's the desired objective? And use multiple points if necessary. Identify and rank the critical issues, a summary of the current situation. Use brief bullets and discuss details verbally. And then, among your group, discuss how did we get here? What's the relevant historical information? Does it bear on where you're at right now and where you want to go? And are your original assumptions, are they still valid? And if not, why not? Okay, now state the available options. What are the alternative strategies? List all the advantages and disadvantages of each option and state the cost of each option. And here's a graphic to help you do this. You just write down in a vertical list in the columns there how we would best. Here's another one. Pick alternative A. What's the best possible outcome of choosing that? The most likely outcome and the worst possible outcome. And then you compare notes. Then you choose the best solution. Recommend one or more strategies. Summarize the results if things go as proposed, and what are you going to do next? Describe how you would implement the solution. Identify the action items, and then identify the resources needed to get there. And finally, explain how to communicate the solution. Identify the target audiences. That includes stakeholders, gatekeepers, and influencers. And we talked about that in another area. So make sure you look at another video that I've posted. Make sure you know who those are. Very important. And then select the appropriate medium to convey the message. Okay, I'm going to post a document as well that'll help you with this, but these are the main steps, and make sure you follow those steps whenever you do your cases. I know it's going to be difficult at first because like everybody else without experience, first graders, they want to color outside of the lines. Follow within the lines, use a bullet point format, segment the processes, and then you'll do just fine. But one of the more difficult problems you're going to have is working with your group members, coming to a defined rationale, defending your case, and just the first one's going to be the most difficult. So keep that in mind. It's to be expected.